One of the greatest challenges in any research or knowledge management workflow is not gathering information, it's organizing it. Once you begin collecting documents, generating summaries, and saving notes, the volume can become overwhelming quite quickly. What you need at that stage is not more content, but structure. And in NotebookLM, there are tools built specifically to support that through categorization, tagging, and AI-assisted note management. When your notebook begins to grow, whether you're dealing with 5 documents or 50, the first thing you'll notice is how easy it is to lose track of what connects to what. You may have summaries, definitions, examples, and conflicting views all sitting in the same stream of notes. This is a natural part of the process. Research isn't linear. Our thoughts move in loops, comparisons, and tangents. The solution isn't to control the content, it's to group it in ways that make it easier to work with. Let's move to NotebookLM. There are 2 primary methods for structuring your notes: categorizing by theme and tagging by function or topic. Let's begin with categorization. This is mostly a manual process, and that's deliberate. You, not the AI, decide how your thinking is evolving. For instance, if you're researching public health communication, you might start to see clusters of notes around messaging strategy, cultural adaptation, misinformation, and digital outreach. These aren't necessarily categories the AI will name for you, but they'll emerge naturally as you review your saved notes. Once you recognize those themes, you can rename and reorder your notes to reflect that grouping. Use clear descriptive titles. Avoid saving notes under labels like good point or important. These won't mean much to you in 2 weeks. Instead, aim for titles that signal purpose. Challenges in marketing messaging. These labels make it easier to revisit your notebook and quickly locate the kind of insight you're looking for. The second layer of structure comes through tagging. Tags are optional, but they're particularly effective when your research overlaps multiple topics or domains. For example, in a notebook on education policy, you might have notes that relate to both funding and equity. Rather than duplicating content or creating separate notebooks, you can use tags like budget reform, access, or regional disparities to mark overlapping ideas. This allows you to search and filter your content later based on the specific angle you're focusing on. What's worth noting here is that NotebookLM doesn't automate tags for you. And again, that's by design. The AI can help surface content, but the interpretation of categories remains in your hands. And that's exactly where it should be. You define the architecture of your understanding. The tool simply supports your ability to implement it. As your notebook evolves, you'll also find that reorganizing is part of the process. A note that made perfect sense in one section may become redundant or less relevant as your thinking develops. Don't hesitate to retitle, move, or even merge notes as your perspective becomes clearer. The system is flexible, and so should your structure be. Let me suggest a reflective task to help apply this approach. Open a notebook you've been working on. Scan your saved notes and try to identify 3 to 5 themes that are beginning to take shape. Rename those notes to reflect those themes. If you find notes that fall across categories, add simple tags that describe those overlaps. Then try reading through those grouped notes as if they were a draft outline. What do you see more clearly now than you did before? What connections were hidden when everything was simply saved in chronological order? When organization becomes intentional, clarity improves, not only for your own comprehension, but also for when you need to share your work with others or translate it into a written format. Categorizing and tagging are not cosmetic steps. They're the foundation of reusable, extensible knowledge. They give form to your thought process and help you track your line of reasoning over time. See you in the next lesson, where we will learn how to integrate external sources and documents into NotebookLM.